What's up, you guys? It's Derek Morris. You can check me out, Derek Morris 777.com. Strength in This Moment is out. And I just want to tell you guys that you're so loved. You can do anything. Let's go. And I just also want to thank John the Ninja. Hiya!
Look at him, got the muscles ready, making me feel bad. I need to work out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It is John the Ninja, live in the dojo, aka in the dojang. And you know it's the John the Ninja Studio, Studio D-E-B. I forget at this point. We might as well make it A because we've been here so much. But the point of the matter is this. I have a gentleman who just spread some love to the world. When you look at him, that's what you think. You think love. He's a Cali boy now, don't get it twisted. But he's also, if he was with my friend group, we would also call him Mexican American. Not because he has Mexican blood, but he lived in Mexico and he's paid his dues. He speaks fluent Spanish, maybe we'll find out. But the more important part is the gentleman I have here has a message of love. 777 is one of the big hallmark markers for a lot of people, but he takes it to heart. He's not only a artist, a book provider. When I say that, I mean he's got a couple of books at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. That's pretty impressive by itself. But this man has blended music in such a way that it's actually the diversity, the beauty in it of how we rock and rock, hip hop and rock and country and everybody that loves a little bit of everything. He does it so effortlessly, and it's actually quite beautiful. The gentleman I have here is Mr. Derek Morris, and we're here to talk about his latest LP, EPLP. John's mixing words. My apologies, good sir. But it's strength in this music. You know what? That should be the new line. Strength in this music. Because he's overcome addiction, he's overcome pains, and he's also come back to his faith in God. So we're going to talk about that. But breaking character, done with the silliness, and also done with the mess ups. We're here to talk about his latest album, Strength in This Moment. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a Mr. Derek Morris. How are you, good sir?
Hello. Good. Very good. Doing great. Out here in Cali. Woo!
Man, you were looking great, man. You were stunting beforehand,
Oh,
telling me how your day was. Made me feel bad. I need to get some tattoos and whatnot. But I have to ask, bro, you literally just a couple of minutes ago posted on Instagram a message of love, and I absolutely adored it. You told us, remember you can do it, you are loved, and stay hydrated. That was my favorite part. It wasn't even a joke because of where you're at. It's super hot. So I
yeah.
just wanted to know what sparked you to do that? Because a lot of your message is telling people you can do it. You've had moments where you just felt like you couldn't and you persevered. So, was that one of those posts where it's just like, I have a feeling I should do it? Or is that something you're trying to do continually since you're so big on encouraging people?
That is a good question, but to answer it, it just comes to me like, which is cool, you know. Like I just like, for God's like boom, and I'm like, all right, like I just like, and I'm like, dude, I gotta tell someone, you know. I got and like we have the internet, and it's like you never know who it's helping, and that's I just think it's so cool because like I feel too. I don't know, maybe that's another mindset like everyone even like in the music stuff, not all music, but people, I don't feel there's a lot of compliments these days, and a lot of like people just, I don't know, just saying like what's real. And I don't know, I just, if it comes to my mind, I just do it, you know. If it's something negative in life, I think about it and be like, no. But when it's positive, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna share this with the world, like why not? The world can never have enough positivity, enough hope. You know what I'm saying? So that's yeah, it's just very natural. So I just capture the moment and put it on there. So yeah.
So I wanted to know, did you always have that mindset? Because what I do love is your story is really powerful, but you're also very honest. Like people confuse you. Like my man, when you said your wife thought you were trying to be like a white rapper on Upward, I almost spit out my drink when I heard that simultaneously. I was like, so the idea is when you grow up in more poorer neighborhoods, you said you grew up in the ghetto, and it wasn't a ghetto that people romanticize. It was a legitimate hard life living situation that tends to weigh down on people, that tends to be very negative atmosphere. And being negative tends to be the coping mechanism, whether or not you complain about everything, even though it's you really don't care, it's just reactional. Or maybe you really do start to feel like maybe I am worthless, maybe I'm not this, maybe I can't do this. What was your mindset as a child? What was growing up like? Because you did have to move around so much and it was a lot on your mother.
It was harsh. Like it was a crazy world, like, and I just couldn't, like, I think, and I was put down. That's what was crazy too, like, put down by everything at school, at this, at that. I was like the only white kid, you know, and I was like always told to, like, you don't have eyebrows, which I do. They're just blonde. But no, that's what's cool is because what you were saying, like, well, what gave you that mindset, And in my 20s, I kind of just let let my past go, right? And I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna step forward, and like, I feel honestly like God's just gave me a perspective. But then it was crazy because then in my 30s, I went through like crazy stuff, like doing drugs and this and that, and I started downward spiraling, right? But then when I came back out, it was cool because I got to see the perspective that I feel a lot of people live in, that like I can't do anything. I'm worthless. I'll always be a junkie. I'll always be this. Like they say I'm ugly. And I just feel like for me it was a God thing. Like I was just like, dude, like God, and like just kind of looking in the mirror too. Because I was told too my whole life, you'll never be nothing. You're worthless. You're ugly. Dude, I was told you are ugly by men growing up. And like that's weird, huh? I was
Yeah,
like,
you sure you were in the right spot, man? Because I've been in some spots in Philly. I was like, you know what? I appreciate that because I know exactly where I'm at. Can I get one more beer and I'll be out of here? Actually, make sure the cap is still on. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
no, but these were like guys that were like even I was so-called homies. Like we'd be all be like living together. I'd be getting ready or something for work, and then like, yeah, and I'd be like looking in the mirror, washing my face, and just straight up like, you're so ugly. And I was like, why?
'Cause I can see that in certain friend groups, like the meaner we are, the more loving we are. But other times, sometimes it is the actual like somebody's jealous of you or they're upset. Do you feel like that's what it was looking back now? Do you think it was just culturally why they were saying that, or do you think it was legit? Like I didn't notice it, but maybe they really did have animosity towards me because I was so handsome. You know what I mean?
No, right. I felt it was a mixture of a lot of things, but I always, well, that as growing old, like getting older, and like perspective wise, you're like, oh, like I've learned like hurt people. And like it wasn't like jokes, it was like straight up, like, because tones and stuff like that. And I was just like, dang, like I was even told like, you suck at singing my whole time. And then like you get little pieces of like, dude, your music, like there's just something about your voice, like like that song made me cry. So I feel there's always this fight in life, and I believe it's spiritual. Like you have an awesome life to live, and there's going to be like these things thrown at you constantly. So you just have to be like I said, looking in the mirror and being like, wait a second. Like I believe everybody is amazing, and they're created the way they're supposed to be, the way they look, everything. But then we all examine everybody else, and then someone's like, well, you're not as good as that person. You're not good. It's always negative. It's not like, oh, well, that's cool. They're doing that. Well, what you're doing is cool too. Or like, oh, they don't have this, but you don't have that, but like in a good way. It's just like, what I'm saying? Flipping the script of like, why is there so much like animosity? Is that the word? It's like,
you.
dang, we should be like lifting each other up. Instead, we're piling to get to the top. It's not everybody, but you know what I mean.
So I wanted to go back to your mom. What was her situation? Because you've cited your sister and your brother as huge influences in getting you into music. You've always been a drawer, but your sister, she was the one that got him into the the harder rock or the rock. She introduced the Cranberries and a couple other acts. And then your brother, he was the hip hop head. So we're gonna talk to you about your top MCs in a minute. But he was the one that was into the rap music, the rap culture, and then through those influences, that's how you got into the music, and then Green Day, Sublime, Tupac, and etc. So I wanted to know what was mom's situation, and were you the only children? Was there just the three kids, or was it more to it? Because there was a
Uh,
lot of back and forth with my
uh,
family with the music, so I can understand like when things are happening, that could be a safe place for everyone.
music. definitely has always been a safe place for me. Like I was the kid that like would put my headphones on all the time. I listened to the same song. If it like a Mary J. Blige, that was the first song that really hit me like with positivity. It wasn't her words, but it was the chords. And oh man, I'm trying to remember. Dun 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 dun. It was like, ooh, oh. It was like Mary J. Blige's like first single hit back then. So, but you were asking about my mom, right? Single mother, like I said, on welfare, 5 kids. Um, and I was like, there's just a constant, like, dude, like craziness. Like, so, and she was, I don't blame it on her. I don't blame anything on my mother. Like, she didn't have a role model exact, like, you know what I mean? So it passes that way. Like, she was a mom trying to be a mom. And um just like things like I went to a high school, and like just the way it was so she got me into a private high school, and that was my first reality of like, whoa, there's white people at other places. And it was like in Claremont, and um she was basically, and it cost a lot of money, but she for some reason wanted me to go there. So to do that she had to like get money, if you know what I mean, and not a good way. And I didn't know all this stuff. Like I was kind of oblivious. Like I saw all these things, but it was kind of like not real to me. Like this isn't really happening, you know? Like what? And then I would hear things from my older brother, and like because I was younger, you know. So I just feel like she had a rough. It was hard for her, and sometimes, a lot of times, I feel people we try to cut corners, you know, but then it's gonna end up just hurting us. So yeah, I love my mom so much. Unfortunately, we don't really talk, just because there's drama in that and stuff. And I feel I like saying this and being honest and open, because if anyone is dealing with that, some people will hang on to it. But if you get out of it, you get a different perspective of life. Like, wait a second, that's not how people talk to people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And that's rough because sometimes that can also bring survivor's guilt, or it can bring the animosity with the other siblings. Why is he getting this? We didn't. And it's just very hard to maneuver that ground, especially when you're at a young age. But at a young age, you also drew. You're a Sharpie man, man. You got a couple of books out right now, and it was supposed to be you were ahead of your time with the whole idea of like, oh, the ghoulies can be, good. They don't have to be scary and just for Halloween. So you kind of did Hotel Transylvania really early, and it was the vampires and the ghosts that were nice and giving hugs. I wanted to know when you actually first started thinking like, oh, I can make something out of this, because a lot of people, traditional artists, they love their pencils, they love certain techniques. But what I love is you still use a Sharpie, and it gives it that little rugged, more of aggressive edge. I know I'm looking too deep into it, but I just wanted to know your experience with drawing, how far you got with it, because you do have some beautiful paintings in your house right now. There's one behind you right now, behind the top poster that people can't see, a beautiful picture of a girl, and I adore it.
That's actually a picture. That's me and my wife, and we just got it like in a thing frame. So yeah,
Yeah, too. Did you paint both of those?
I actually can't. That's what's crazy. Is like I can't. That's not my skill. Like when I paint, it's like a coloring thing. Like I paint way different than any like painters do. But that's what I'm always saying. What you can do anything. You just got to find a way to do it. So yeah, I that too. Sorry, I just wanted to recap how you're saying. So living the way I did, I look back and I'm like, dude, it taught me skills. Like if you live in the hood, you're like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta steal this, do this and that, right? You find ways to hustle. But if you find ways to hustle your craft, like put it to something positive, you can do anything. It's the same motivation, but put it into something that's like, you know what I'm saying? And like, so with drawing Sharpie, dude, honestly, I never went to art school. I never went to music school. Like, I played like, it's just crazy. it's crazy that, and I blame God. Like, thank you for the gifts, you know, because I always would tell people that I'm not an artist. I meet artists all the time. Like, they're great. You know, like you guys, I'm always like encouraging people, like, damn, dude, you don't put your artwork out there. Like, yours is better than mine. And they're like, no. And again, it's the confidence thing. Like, who cares? Like, there's so many great artists, dude, and you'll never know because they're too scared to just put it out there.
But you also said in other interviews, like sometimes people would bolster you too. Your friend Aaron, I believe was his name, rest in peace. I wanted to know when you met him because a lot of your stories, when I try and go through the music catalog in my mind of like reading different stories, remembering there are so many pivotal moments where one musician would be told something. Eric Clapton was one. He was in the back of a bus one time, and a couple told him, like, man, you got a great voice. You better use it before God takes it. Or somebody else telling someone, hey, man, you got a skill. You need to stop playing and actually, you're being selfish not sharing this with the world. And a lot of your stories, it's like every single little thing you had to get over before his passing. He was the one saying, like, no, you're going to do this. He was prophesying things on you. He was
Yeah.
predicting things. He was telling you. So I wanted to know when you guys met, what he meant to you, and just overall the dynamic. Was, since we are of the spiritual nature, was he closer to the spiritual world as far as being in tune with God, or was he just naturally one of those people that, he was sensitive to art and he could see it, he could see talent easily?
Both. Like, he definitely had a spiritual belief, like he believes in God, you know, but he also like saw what you didn't see. And I met him. I was in this band that I played in, and he was just like, dude, like, because I would write all the songs and all the melodies, but I would just play guitar. Like, I was like coordinating the band. And then he was like, dang, you guys are so awesome. And then when we got to know each other more, I would tell him more about how it comes together. And he was like, dude, you gotta do like, so he had a like indie record label. And he's like, you gotta do like an EP on my label, like Acoustic. And I was like, all right. So I did it. And then he just always saw that in me with the singing too. Cause I told you, people diss me all the time, dude. Like, you suck, you suck, you suck, everybody. And then he would send me CDs, and all the time he's like, dude, he's like, practice of this, practice. He's like, because I would get in the studio and I couldn't get out what I would get out live. It was just a different, I would explain that to him. He's like, dude, you sing so good with this, but when I hear you recording, it's not the same. But he's like, you're gonna make it, Derek. He's like, you're like the most talented, like da 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 da. And I was like, wow, like, and it's crazy. Like, I always think of him like now, like, man, he's probably in heaven or just looking down, being like, I told you, you know, like, you were the one, like, not being like a jerk or anything to anybody else, like my other friends, but he saw that, like the diamond in the rough, if you would. He was just such a great guy, though. Like, he, not even just the music, he saw like me, he saw the whole, he saw the picture and he knew it was true. I feel most people see you and they're like, I don't know, maybe this guy's like pulling my leg, or he's not this, he's not real. You know what I mean? But he knew me. I didn't have to explain myself to him. So that was, yeah, he was an amazing guy, dude.
And that was he was a big portion of your first EP of where healing pain, you had to do a little bit of everything. So you had to record, you had to sing, and it was pretty much formulating everything. But before we get to the acoustic, which is basically where you're blowing up now, and the bands and Warped Tour, we gotta go back to the hip hop, good sir.
Yo,
I have an inkling if we were to be back in the day, which we are so accustomed with, that we would have a disagreement of the greatest rapper when it comes to Biggie and Tupac. You have praised Tupac to no end. So I wanted to know who were your top five rappers, or at least rappers you listen to the most, because there's so many ways to split it up. But what was it about Tupac you like?
well, first of all, my favorite rapper was Too Short.
Too Short.
And the reason I loved him because he just da 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 da. He's talked about his life, and I'm a person of like, dude, I love real You know what I mean? I don't know who doesn't, but I'm like, if you're not real, dude, get out of here. Not in a mean way, but like I just couldn't like. And Too Short, I know his rapping was like, but it was so sick. I still love it to this day because he's just like, I don't know, it's just so in the trunk with the booming box. Like it's so like it's happy, but it's like he's talking about crazy stuff. And then with Tupac, what I loved is like I feel like I had a lot in common with him, like as far as seeing the world. Um, just like seeing like how men treat women. Like my mom too, they were all abused by men. So it's like I always had this heart for like women, like damn dude. So I definitely with that. And I saw that just he was charismatic too. Like sometimes and I felt I related a lot with him. Like sometimes I'm real serious, sometimes I'm real goofy. Like that's how Tupac was. Like wherever you caught him at that time was who he was, type deal. Because he wasn't afraid to like live by some type of system of who you have to be.
Another band that was big, and I think they might be a little closer to your actual style, was Sublime. And they were pretty fire back in the day. I've actually had the pleasure of seeing them play, but
Uh,
Armstrong gets a lot of love because he's able to do a little bit of everything. You got the reggae, you got the rock, you got etc. So I wanted to know, as far as playing goes, do you think they're probably the most influential on your playing? I know Green Day was a huge deal. When they came out with Basket Case, that kind of was the pushover for you to start playing.
that is interesting because maybe subconscious. I don't know. It's weird because I feel like probably, yeah. I don't really think about that, but I was like, dang, like, because I don't feel I'm reggae or like, because when I talk to people about Sublime, they're like, oh, they're just reggae. And I'm like, no, they're not. I'm like, he's everything. Like, he does it all. And that too, he's a white dude. And like, how he raps in Spanish or sings in Spanish and does a little reggaeton type stuff, and I love that. Like, he's just being who he is, and yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. I have to think about that. I just love so much music, and I don't like. I'm the person that I don't know the names of albums. I don't know the songs, but I just yeah, that band's sick. That rapper's sick. La da 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 da.
I really did want to touch on your time in Mexico, and it fascinates me. The reason I joked in the earlier when we were talking is because I have a friend on my cross country team. His parents were missionaries, so he lived in Mexico. So one of our biggest, funniest moments as a team is we had all the Hispanics in a car one time, and he was in there too. I was like, "Oh, y'all noticed something?" So we all jumped on the joke. So I just wanted to know what your time was like there. Was it long? Again, you had a lot of history in South California, San Diego as well. I just wanted to know what you received from that culture because obviously it's giving the way you grew up has given you this ability to blend both worlds. You can come in and out and be, I would say respected, but be somebody everyone goes, no, it's safe to talk to him, especially how times are.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good thing what you said. I was like, oh, thanks. Um, for me, dude, Mexico was when I look back, it was a wild. So my mom, like I told you, was dysfunctional. She'd just be like, we get kicked out of this apartment, this and that. And then she met some new guy, and they just like, let's go to Mexico. And we're kids, so we're just like, okay. Like we have to do whatever, wherever the food's at. So or wherever she goes out whipping us. So we went and it was crazy. I have a funny story to tell you though. So when I lived there, I had a Super Nintendo and the kid that I met there had a Nintendo. And I told him, dude, hey, I will trade you my Super Nintendo for your cabaya for his horse. And he was like, see, I was like, yeah, dude. He knew English too, like pretty decent. And I was still learning too. So yeah, dude, I traded him. I rode the horse back with no like bareback with just the reins and like that like yellow rope that's like cheesy from like I don't know Home Depot or whatever. I rode that back from his pad to my pad, and then my mom was like, what are you doing with that? I was like, it's my horse. She's like, you know, you have to feed that thing. And I didn't think about it. I was so young. And it's like, you have to feed them hay every day, obviously. Like, they eat a lot. So I had to give it back and get my Super Nintendo back. So I always love sharing that story because it's so like random, right? Like, but it's so cool.
That's like a cross between the ultimate fantasy as a kid and then the ultimate like what is going on as a parent. The fact that she handled that so brilliantly, because I've been like, you know what? I can't hate. That's way cooler than anything I did as a kid, and I ain't gonna lie. So that's a beautiful story, man. That's fantastic. That's like a Native American story right there, man. You gotta start selling that somehow. Gotta see if we got some genes in you, man. What tribe you from? That's my thinking right there.
I know. I don't know. My mom always said we had Cherokee too in our blood, but I didn't see it on my DNA thing. My two and me, it was like 90% something, but no Cherokee.
See, they weren't trying hard enough. We gotta take you back. You know, you mentioned Mana. I keep on saying their name wrong. It's a little difficult for me. But you mentioned them, and you mentioned they were a huge influence as well. You know, I wanted to know if you ever got to see them because you have been in certain circles, and you know, when you know people, you know, things tend to happen without trying. So I just wanted to know if they're still on your radar as one of your favorite artists, if they're still as impactful.
No, that I feel when I look back to that, that was more of the cassette tape that I listened to in Mexico. Like that was more like es mi corazón. Like it was cool because it was very I love good melodies, dude. Like that's I don't know. I've always just like I'm not gonna say it's good music. I would say I like a major key over a minor key. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't kept, but it was just funny hearing how big they are over here. I was like, what? When I found out this was like years ago, I was like, huh? I was like, I used to listen to them. We bought the cassette like at some whatever store down there. And we're like, that's so crazy. Well, my brother did actually. So yeah.
So tell me about your musical journey and how that really started. Like, when did you start playing music? Because one of the coolest things I thought going back is you actually got to work with Take Action on Warp Tour. It's pretty cool. Anytime I hear about any charities that musicians get to work with, you know, I absolutely adore that. Anytime like, hey, we can give back with our music or doing something. But there is this gap within the interviews I was studying where it's like, oh, I started playing music. We know you started the band with your friends and was orchestrating and doing it, but there's this gap between Warp Tour and when you started playing. Could you fill in that gap for me?
Okay, so the Warp Tour, that was the books, my events. I was doing it with that. I was supporting them with Vemps. And I had what was it? It was like give a book away or something. I had like something, you know, obviously it was charity and helping. So I stopped doing music, like the band broke up. Oh, and then I started just touring with Vemps. Like I did like Comic Con and then I went to LA Comic Con and then I started doing they had like hotel things for like comic venues. And then so I would go like all the way out to like Florida and then come back. So then but in between, I was always like, oh, I gotta write music and stuff like that. And then when I was done with that, then that's when Aaron was like, hey, you should do an EP. So that's when and then that just kept going. And then my Vents thing opened up again afterwards. I'm like, damn, like so many things I forget. And in the convention, I went to Vegas with it for the convention and this huge company, it was like from Japan. The dude was telling me, he's like, "Did you draw this?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I know," or he's like, "I could tell because the way it was, you know, the texture." I was like, "Yeah, I like to draw and I take a picture and then add the color." And they were gonna, I had this deal that they were setting up for like Forever 21 in Japan, but they had a lot of board meetings and it didn't go through, which is cool because at the time I was like a functioning alcoholic, I guess you'd say. So I'm glad. It's so cool how all these big opportunities were ready to overtake, And I feel like God was like, not today, because I would have blown it all away, if that makes sense.
Lock that line in. That's your lyric. That's your lyric. We got copyrighted right now.
Oh yeah, dude. That's wait. Say it again. I gotta
You
write that
just
down.
said it. You're the one who said
Uh,
it.
Not got time.
God said, "Not today."
Guys, you'll blow it away.
That's a line right there. That's
All
yours.
right. Honestly, and not to toot my horn, but I mean, when I talk to people, they always say that, dude, that's a good line for a song. I'm like, what are you talking about? What you just said? I'm like, huh? So
You're so good at it. It's just it's beneath you. You don't even notice it. It's like, oh well, I do this all the time. Greatness.
that's what's crazy because I'm like, I don't have. I mean, I consider myself like a ADHD person. My mind's like, I went not no proper schooling at all. I went to school. Okay, Mexico story. I went to school in Mexico, and so it was in Ensenada, and the only teacher that could speak English, um, he was like he was teaching fourth graders. So me and my brother were probably like 14, 15. We had to be in that classroom, bro, and little kids' chairs, like squeezing our body in these little chairs. I'm not kidding you. And he would, when he could, while he was teaching the class, he would come up to us and like teach us da 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 da, da like little things. And that's how I like learned like actual like the ABCs and one two threes. It was in like a kids room, dude, and it was crazy. Like my brother, I remember because we were doing like uno dos tres, and dude, my brother messed up, and the teacher just slapped him, wham, and all the kids started laughing. I did laugh too. That was not right, but it was crazy, dude. Like I totally went. A lot of people tell me, gotta write a book, man. Gotta write a book.
Yeah, or at least an audio recording of what happened. This is crazy stuff. So I know a lot of the struggles came from the first divorce, and the band was around that time too with the music. And to me, with the limited knowledge I had on this subject, it sounded like what happened to one of my other friends. Like he was a drug addict prior to, he was trying to get things right, just couldn't get it, finally got clean, and then God opened up a lot of doors for him at school. A lot of opportunities with scholarships, get his degree, had his girl and fiance, and then it was a very quick pivot where she broke up with him and then he didn't go back to using, but he was very confused at what's the next step. What am I to do? So he got very melancholy, very dark. And the last time I saw him, it's been years removed, he was doing a little bit better, but you could still see him trying to search for that question of like, why God? I had it exactly the way, of course, everyone, you could say it, hindsight 2020, I wanted versus when everybody says is like, what does God want? But I can understand the confusion when you started somewhere, you finally get there and everything's so much better and you're kind of assuming, well, this is what God wants and this is what I want too. And then when God removes it, you're like,
Mm.
I wanted to know what was that first band? What was the lead up to all that to you finally starting to drink? Like how did you really fall into your addiction? Is that the PTSD you've mentioned that you had?
Yeah, and that's like a thing too. That's why I always tell people you could do anything, brother. Because I was like, man, like throughout when my PTSD hit, like, dude, like it changes your whole world. And back, like, it was when I was 27, it hit me. And back then, like, not a dinosaur, but back then, like, they weren't up to date. I feel like after COVID, then they start really recognizing people can have depression and PTSD, and it's more open than it's ever been. But then I was told just smoke a joint, or like if I did, I would have it more. I was in I was in this band Motionless, and then that fell apart, and that's what first hit me. It was just like, and that's when the PTSD came out, because I always the stem of all these like psychotic thing or whatever psychosis is depression. So when the band fell apart, it really hurt me because that band, I wanted to like use it to show the world hope. And it ended off on a not a good note. So it kind of destroyed like friendships and relationships, and they're that's like, and I think in being in that, it was kind of seeing too the pride of things, like how people, not everybody, but just certain people and bands can, they think they're better than everybody because it goes to their head. Like I was saying, I look back and all those things have shaped me for where I am now. So that was ended. Then I got married, like I think it was 3 years afterwards. Yeah, when I came back. And then that I was drinking because, and that was crazy. I never drank, dude. Like I just have like energy. I don't even know. I think I was just influenced. Like here's a beer at a show, right? And then it just went from there. And I just dove. I was drinking. We were married, and then just situations happened, and we got a divorce, and that's when it really hit me the hardest because I was like, dang, dude, like everything was so good, like you're saying your friend, right? I was like, I have everything going for me, like doing music and this da 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 da, but like I look back and I'm like, I actually didn't. So I feel like that's an answer to what you're saying about your homie, that like we feel that we see it one way and God's like, he always has better things for us. It's like it always says that what, like, your best days are yet to come. So I always stick with that, dude. But yeah, that's where the drug and addiction started really kicking in. I came back to SD. I was living in Oregon and we got divorced. I came back to SD and I was just kind of like, dude, I've been doing all this good stuff and I love this. And I'm like, F it all. Like, I don't care. And then that's when everybody started like seeing me like, what the heck? Like, who's this? And that's when my past kicked back in, was like the survival mode. Like, cause I was young drinking like and smoking weed. Dude, I was like 11 years old, bro. Cause I was introduced like super young. And then I stopped. But then when that happened, it was like two trains. And I didn't run to the right people. And that's why for other people that stuff, dude, run to the right people that are gonna help uplift you.
With the PTSD, I wanted to know, was it reoccurring? Was it more of a, I've had a panic attack. Honestly, legally, I can't even describe it. The therapist tried explaining it. I couldn't understand it. But
Mm,
there are moments where it just rushes up on you. You could be with somebody and, say you and that person had a good time, and then all of a sudden all the bad things come back, and then you just can't move. It's kind of like Tony Stark and Iron Man, where he's just Iron
so,
Man, hey, falling over. What's happening? Have I been poisoned? Has this happened? It's like actually a therapist told me, not mine, that the mind can recover, but the body may still not have, and your
oh,
body can still have that reaction, even though in your head you think you're okay. So
mm,
was it a constant just depression where you just were sad and it was just automatic you going back and forth? Or was it more of like you would get the feeling and have to do it again? And then segueing into that, you said when you got saved, because you always were in the church, but when you got saved and turned it around, it was like a flick of the switch, man. Some people get saved and they still have to keep on fighting the urges or have to work with it, but you was a true spiritual, shift in the mind, shift in the spirit, whereas like you never did it again. So I just wanted to get your take on that. Like, how was that for you? Did it feel weird? It's like, oh, I don't need it anymore? Or was it more of like, nah, I'm back to me?
no, I would say what was crazy when I sobered up and all that. So then my sister passed away, and I had like one drink, and then it led up, the same thing came and creeped up on me. And that's why I keep talking to people, because I feel about hope. Because when my sister passed, I started like messing up. But it's like, I think people are too hard on themselves. Like I don't know if I've told you this, like, like at the coins at AA meetings, like that's awesome. But it's like if you get wasted one night or whatever, it's kind of like they throw everything out. So you got to restart over. I don't know if that's all of it, but from what I remember of meetings. And that's why I'm like, I know God's grace is not, he's so amazing. Like, dude. So yeah, like, sorry. God's grace is so amazing that he's like, I don't even care. It's like every day is a new day. And I feel like that's why I've been through the things I've been through, and even currently, And it's like, dude, it's just awesome to me because it shows that you could keep going. Like, don't get down on yourself. And no one, even in the Bible, the greatest people were the worst f ups, and they kept learning from the situation, correct? And even if they didn't, like, God's His grace is sovereign, you know. So that makes sense.
But I remember, I believe it's good. Was it Goodness? Butterfly in the Sky? Was it
Yeah,
Butterfly in the Sky
but if,
for her sister? And
yeah,
there's two versions of that. There's the acoustic version, and then there's the one that was more the punk rock. It was
yeah,
very Smashing Pumpkin to me, but it wasn't Smashing Pumpkins. It was totally Mr. Derek Morris. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed that song, just how you were able to go back and forth and mold it and make it different and etc. Speaking of which, 777 and Derek Morris. Derek Morris is the name you changed. You changed your name to that. I want
yeah. Just me, Derek Morris. But I couldn't make the Instagram just Derek Morris. It wasn't available, so I was like, oh, my favorite numbers are 777. So I added that, and then everything else, the website, you know, because some people are like, you're Derek Morris 777. I'm like, no, that's just like. But I love those numbers, you know. So, but I was just like, wait a second, no, that's not it.
Why 777? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, it was a nice little take in my mind. It's like, oh well, we had Pete 666, so Derek 77, yeah. But then I caught, I was like, no, it's just Derek Morris. Stop
Yeah.
playing. So why 777? Because there are numbers in my life too that they keep on popping up where they're a representation of who I am to other people. So I
Mm,
always find it fascinating when somebody has a legitimate connection that they can really hold on to those numbers, like if they were angel numbers.
yeah, well, those numbers represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, and that's like I have the Trinity right there. Got that a long time ago. So yeah, and it's just always stuck with me. I was like, I thought I was super original or something. I was like 777, and then I was like, oh wait, people use that um as like the lucky numbers too, which I don't care what anyone else thinks. That's for me, you know. Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Some people ask me like, I'll tell them like, what? Like, you're a Christian? That's the craziest thing. You love Jesus? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Like, what? Like, it's cool.
But it's a nice change in tone from what it was back in the day. Now it's a little bit more acceptable to be not judging the book by its cover legitimately this time
Right.
instead of just saying it. Because I went to a Christian school, and of course there would be times where the teachers, they would say something that would let you know it's like, oh, I thought you were one of the good ones, or I thought this, and you hear it and you can tell they don't know any better, but they also know better. It's kind of a fine line. So let's get to the music, man. Let us get to the music because you've been killing it. You just played the Viper Room. Everything is acoustic now, and you've mentioned how there's a difference in your attack as far as singing and playing acoustically, and it just seems like the music you write and the stories you have that you create through music are just more impactful on acoustic than they are when they are actually hip hop style, because you've done hip hop, you've done rap and rock, you've done these different styles, you've even recorded on GarageBand singing into your iPad, but it seems like acoustic seems to be the way. I wanted to know when you also agreed with other people saying that, because I know you play drop D, and it's just like it's not toned down, it's a stripped, straightforward version of the music, and it just projects beautifully that way. When did you
Thank-
know acoustic was the way to go?
Honestly, I've always loved acoustic. Um, I just loved acoustic, but I don't know how to, which is cool. It's my style. Like, I'm not like Jack Johnson or, you know, like, I don't know how to like play like a country person or whatever. Or because a lot of people are like, oh, that's I thought I came to like an acoustic like mellow show, like woo, you know. But I don't know. There's just something about it, and I blame it on like the music, like the notes. Like I can, it's like telling a story, but like I don't know, dude. When I get up there and play, it just like. So what I do is, so like I have a new song coming out. Don't Get Lost in the Days, and it's a full band thing that I wrote, you know. So when you hear it, it's like a full on rock song. But I'll play what I do is I play all these songs but acoustic. That's like my thing because I don't want to be in a band, and that's just not. I mean, if God changes all that, that's cool. But I just feel more comfortable, which a lot of people are like, "Damn, that's more." Um, what do you call it? It's more intimidated. They say just you and an acoustic, the mic. But for me, it feels right at home. And yeah, maybe that's why. That's I don't know. I just really mean what I sing, dude. I can't. I can't explain it. It's just like it's in me, you know.
One really great music video and song I think kind of encompassed everything that you have become now is I'm Alive. That was that one of those songs you had when you were young? Because a lot of the music that you when you started doing acoustic were songs you wrote when you were way younger. You rehashed some, you took some that you didn't have. But I think I Am Alive, oh, I'm sorry, I'm Alive is the one where I would say like if you really want to get a feel for what Derek's style is, what his music's like, what his life's like, what he's like, perfect representation, that music video and the song. I just wanted to know a little bit about that one as far as construction and what it was like for you. Was that one of the older ones where you had to sing into the iPad, or is that was part of the new turn where you actually got everything you needed for the studio work?
Yeah, that was a single when I put out. Dang, when I was with I met my wife and Sarah, my current wife. Met my wife. Like, how many wives have you had? It's all good, man. um, and actually, it was crazy because we were in like a weird spot. We went to go move into a place and they didn't have it. So and this is during like COVID and all that. So we were living in a camper and like I wrote it in that camper and I was by myself and because I wake up every morning and I would look out the window and like pray to God, you know, and that's like what it encompasses. Like when I wake up in the morning to seek your glory, and then like it reflects on that. Like I'm not the same story that those liars told me. And then it's like from there showing like the things I was went through, but like you can make it and you are special and you're loved and like you're amazing, you know? But that was a new song. Yeah, I wrote it in a trailer or it was like a mobile home or whatever or RV, sorry. Yeah, an RV that we were living in temporary because where we went to live, they were just like, oh, you guys can't move in. And we're just like, what? So yeah, it was pretty crazy to see where that song is led to where I am now, living not in a trailer, in an RV, you know? Like it's just cool. And my wife, like everything, we've been through so much, but like it's been so rad because man, I can't even explain it, but like just God's so good, dude. That's it.
She holds you down too now. I mean, we got to throw out the Proverbs 31. Everybody throws out Proverbs 31. But I remember seeing interviews with you and her, and man, she just anything you were missing, she was plugging in. Dude would ask a question, she would be on it before you were even on it. She'd be like, it was this. You were like, yeah, it was this. And we were doing that. And I was just like, yo, this lucky. I ain't going to disrespect your mama, but lucky individual. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well that's why too. That's why I get no, I know that's why I give so much hope to you. I was addicted and drugs and this and that, and then raised dysfunction, blah 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 blah. Went to church. It's like I've been through all these lives, and then it's like, dude, now I have the most amazing wife. Sorry, everybody, can't have her. And like, but no, like I'm just so like, it's crazy, right? Like, and I talk to people and they're like, they first like, whoa, like I remember the things you've been through, like what? Like, whoa, you're like a different person. And it's like, yeah, it's like you can do anything, you know?
So I wanted to know your experience with this new album, Strength in This Moment, and how the Viper Room show was, man. How was that?
It was cool, dude. It was very intimate. Um, I actually was approached by online by a friend. So I haven't played. I played one show like since I started Derek Morris. I've only played one show, and like Pomona like 3 years ago. But now like shows are coming, so I'm just taking them, and I'm like, all right, let's go. So I have another show September 12th. So yeah, honestly, it's just been coming to me. So I'm kind of like, all right, I'm gonna play. At that period of time when I was like writing, I still write, and I don't know, writing is real easy for me. Not to, I'm not saying like my stuff's the best in the world. I love my music, but it just comes to me very naturally. Like I don't know, I just boom, 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 and I never get. I always am writing music, dude. It's just like nonstop. So yeah, I just say don't ever stop. Like keep going. I think that's the key thing I heard this one time. If you don't quit, you win. And like a lot of people quit, and like I'm not saying like, oh, I have it all together and this and this that, but I'm like there's areas in our life where we definitely like just give up even after 2 years, 2 months, 3 years. But man, like music's like for me, it's like it's a lifestyle, so yeah.
What song are you most looking forward to playing or releasing off the new album that has been kind of a little different to you?
I love playing Strength in This Moment. That is like, dude, my most. I feel that's my most like epic acoustic song that I've wrote since Healing Pain. Like it has that same type of vibe, but I don't know, just the nostalgia. I don't know that I love that song.
I love your guitar, man. There's an electric guitar that's yellow. They got the nice little artwork on it. But then your acoustic guitar you have now, the 777 one. I wanted to know what type of guitar that was.
It's a Tim Armstrong from Rancid, like customized, and that dude was like my Tupac of punk rock. Like one day I want to have Tupac looking this way and Tim Armstrong looking that way, because I love like it's like because the people will look and see a punk rocker and not realize that a punk rocker, like his stories are just the same as Tupac stories. It's just a different area, different type of method, but it's the same struggle, but they're both passionate beings. So I'm gonna have that one day. It's just like some big thing because it connects those two worlds to me. Like I don't know, it's beautiful. But yeah, that's what it is. Tim Armstrong, and I don't recommend it for people that stand up and play or have light fingers because it's very thick. But what's cool is like playing on it. I've always been the type to like, if you play on things that are harder to play, that means like it's just building your character, building your endurance more. So, but it sounds great. I love it. I love it.
Was it hard for you to play all the other instruments? Because, playing bass and guitar, it's not the hardest transition. A couple of things here and there, but actually playing, drums, that could be a difference in
Yeah,
itself.
that's like I could like hold a beat, but like when I do the drums, like with technology, you plug them in on the computer. So it's like kick, snare, hi-hat. So I don't have to like, you know what I mean? I don't have to technically play them, but I do like um lay out the foundation. But I do, yeah, bass, I can play bass, acoustic, keys, no windwood instruments. I don't know, flutes, none of that. But everything that you hear, I write it. So yeah, I don't know. I love music. To me, just such a it's like the biggest art form in my life. So that's why I'm kind of like my books right now. I've kind of like putting a lot of that stuff on hold and just kind of going like full forward with this.
There's been a lot of musicians I've been talking to recently, and it's a lot of people in the same boat as us, where this realization of we tried to get away from music, we tried to do other things, and it has dragged us back because it is essential in our life. Like we can't stop or oh, somebody told me this the other day. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember. His name was Logan. Logan, all the pretty things. I'm so sorry because he's friends with other people that I've interviewed and we all talk about him. But
Oh, okay.
somebody was talking about a quote he said, it's like if we don't do this, we'll die. And that was just very beautiful.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
You're so good at encouraging. And like me and you both have this love. I always wanted to be Morpheus when I was growing up, man. I wanted to be the guy to find Neo and then see him explode. Like Jason Kidd was my favorite basketball player, and so was Vince Carter. I wanted to be Jason and throw the ball and see the guy dunk. And you can imagine how bad and mad I was when my team on the basketball court were not that good in high school. I was very disappointed. I had to change things up. So for you, who's been somebody that you can remember, like you said something, you don't have to relay names, but you encouraged somebody and you were given that vindication of that feeling of being able to inspire. You either it was the song or it was just saying like, yo man, you got this. And then like years removed, it's like, bro, you told me that. You'll never believe what happened to me and what I
Right.
was able to accomplish because you told me something. And you could have been just BSing when you said it.
One that always sticks in my head. I was at Starbucks, which I love Starbucks. Always green tea. I'm a green tea man. I don't care what anybody says. People are like, oh, Starbucks. I'm like, I'm not bougie Starbucks guy. But anyways, it's another story. So I saw this guy and he was homeless. Well, first of all, he was like laying on the floor and he was like passed out drunk. And I was like, huh? And I gave him one of my books, and it was like, you were loved, you were amazing. And I said, hey, man. And I thought he was like not gonna respond. And he looked up and he's like, oh, hey. And I gave him the book, and I was like, this is for you, dude. And he read it. And then I was like, I hope you have a great day, like take care and make sure like when you're done, give it to somebody else, help somebody else out. So later on, dude was like a couple months later coming in to get my Starbucks, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, you. And I was like, whoa. Everyone's looking like, huh? I was like, he's like, do you remember me? And no. He's like, I was the guy in the back. He's like, dude, I was living out of my car, like homeless basically. Oh, car, that was his house. We wouldn't call that a house, right? So he was basically homeless, living out of his car, and he's like, dude, when you gave me that book, he's like, the words like touched me so much that like he got back on his feet. He got a job, quit drinking, like just all this crazy stuff. And he was like had a nice like suit on. And I was like, dude, it blew my mind. And he's like, that book you gave me, he's like, dude, it touched my life, and I gave it to somebody else. So that's why when people dismiss other people, I hate that. Like, oh, that guy's drunk, or that guy's like, they're like, shut up, dude. We're here to like be like, just love people, man. Who cares about all the trivial stuff, right? And yeah, that today, like, that story sticks with me like glue. No, but it's very, it blows my mind, dude. You know?
But you've also, again, back to the way you were raised, man. You were in those neighborhoods where you can understand, like, hey, somebody's having a bad day. This might it doesn't matter. People are taught to fear what they don't know, is what I've learned. And they also back to the Matrix because I love the religious syllogism. But once you grow up with something for so long, it's scary to give that up or challenge it. So,
Mhm.
it's hard for people to take that risk because they see the one negative out of the 100,000 possibilities. Yeah, I do have to ask this on a personal level. We might cut this, to be honest. You got to let me know if I should after we answer it. Did you really meet your wife on Upward? Because my man, I'm on every dating app known to man, and a couple of my friends know about. They've been pulling pranks on me. Apparently, I'm a big hit on Grinder. That pissed me off something awfully. But Upward, if I were to say there's an app that I did not get any good play on as far as getting dates, it's Upward. And the dates I got from Upward were crazy. And not that the ladies were crazy. It was just the circumstances were just beyond out of this world, like comical. Like you can't make this up, man. It's gonna be in a comedy. So I really gotta ask, was it Upward or was it more of like another app and it just so happened you guys were Christian?
It was Upward, yeah. And that's what was the crazy thing because I was like, so my sister, before she passed, she was struggling with addiction back and forth. So I would go help her for like 6 months, and then she'd get back on drugs and like, get out of my hair, get out of here. And then I was like, so this happened over a period of like 5 years or 4 years. And I was like, I'm never going back there. And everybody I knew was like, don't ever go back there. You know what's going to happen. Same thing. But hey, I blame it on the Holy Spirit. Dude, the Holy Spirit, I just felt this like, go, go. And I told everyone, like, you're crazy. And I went, dude. And that's how I met my wife. because I was helping my sister. She was in rehab, and I was taking care of her place. And I just was like, dude, I'm single, and like I want to meet a dope Christian girl, that's not like, you know, that's awesome, that really loves God but isn't like judgmental and all that. And but that's like I said, I blame that all like thank you God for me, because and then in those times she got to meet my sister when she was sober, which no one in my whole family has met my sister sober. So they didn't even know who she really was. And it's just like this like epic thing in my life that I'll never forget. It's like, dude, I got to meet, and she even told my wife Sarah, she was like showing her how to cut my hair. And it's just like she was passing, like she knew. And it was just like insane, dude. Like, and then she passed away that following year, I believe. So yeah, it's just like pretty crazy, huh? But yes, Upward. I didn't even know there was still Upward, because I was like, this is like really these apps, and I was like, I'm gonna try it because I didn't want to go into. I already knew if I went on Tinder and this and that, I'm not trying to look for that.
At this point, I'm sorry. I have to relay. I'm a little bit more comical, but please bear with that, man, because I know you don't judge. But yeah, at this point, that's my best options. That's my best options. Like at this point, like I ain't going to hit. That's not that I don't want to. God
Right.
always, you got to earn this. But then again, I'm also kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to marry you off the first date. I don't know. So, but man, it's been hell trying to find this person. I'm like, God, he'd be like, I got you. I'm like, okay, but if it's not going to be right now, you got to at least lay the line down so I could do something to occupy the time. Help me out. So, the fact
Right.
that it worked for you and I see those stories makes me, it makes me happy that people can get these different types of situations. There's a couple of people that follow you. I don't know if you follow them back, but there's a lot of people in my social media group that follow you. One of them was Empty Streets, Aaron
Yeah,
Thompson. I wanted
love.
to know how you guys met.
So I met him when I was in. I'm pretty sure he was in this band when we were in San Diego, and I was in Motionless, and I forgot what band he was in. But that's how we met, was through, I think it was like through playing shows or something. But then later on, when I was doing my vamps, he had a printing company that he owned, and he printed my shirts for me. He's just always been like such an amazing dude. Like, and then I would be at like a convention. Oh, I was at the convention for vamps, and he I saw his picture on a like some catalog for modeling, and I was like, I texted him. I was like, dude, I just saw you. I don't know if it's the same number anymore, but then it was. And I was like, dude, but yeah, no, we talk a little when like on like DM, like hope everything's well, stuff like that. But yeah, we go way back, but we didn't like kick it or anything. But like he's just a great guy. Like nothing but love for Aaron, dude. Or is it Aaron? I don't know. Or his name's Aaron. Yeah, probably
He
had
got,
probably
he
has that.
got I just call him Aaron. He hasn't corrected me, but he's one of those dudes. One of the most powerful interviews I've had was with him. It was very intriguing to see how he's navigated life, and then to him being so kind to the podcast, along with a couple of others in the band. And then, of course, you got Justin Amazing following you. You got one of my friends, Becca, following you. So I loved it. Like when you reached out to me, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. This dude's on his business. This dude knows what he's doing because these are vindications. So I love how you've been able to have the life you've had and still be grounded spiritually, man. Especially the way it's in a way where a lot of people they get right with God and they become too much because they're so in love, they're so changed that it's just God, 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 God. I've been there too, but you've amassed this ability to do it, but not be overkill and imposing, overbearing. It's just, hey man, this is what's happened to me and I'm just grateful. How are you today? I'm doing you good?
Well, that's it. When it all comes down, like as I tell you, they're like, dude, God, like just says like love Him and love people. He doesn't say convince them, talk. tell them they're going to hell. Like, dude, just love people. Like, that's why I don't know. It's just, it's so whack to me. Like, the way I feel the Western world of Christianity, you know, it's like, oh, you have to this and that. Shut up. Like, I'm called to love, dude. That's it. Cause I'll talk to certain Christians and be like, oh yeah, these people doing this and that person doing this. I'm like, dude, like, so I don't care. Like, you're not here to judge. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're all doing something. Like, calm down. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for God. Like, dude, God's not the way I feel people think he is. They know God from what they've been heard, yelled at. You're going to hell. You're an a-hole, this and that. But they don't really know who he is because the representations has been all screwed up. I know that's not everywhere, but I mean, last time I checked, if you ask someone like, "Hey, you want to go to church?" Like, nah, hell no. You know, and like, but yeah, I have friends that love everything. I have friends that are like Satanists. I have friends that everything, dude. It's like, I love you. Who, like,
Yeah, some of my best friends are heathens, bro. I'm like, I love, it's, but that understanding you have of like we're called to love.
man, I'm no better than them, and they're no better than me. Like, let's go.
You ever run into Ritchie the Barber? Because the way you guys talk, and not just spiritually, but the way you guys talk, very Cali, but I feel like you guys have the same energy as far as that understanding spiritually, as far as God, because he's more in tune with the spiritual aspect of life. Um, Ever since he got saved, he's been doing exorcisms. He's been on a different path, but he's also lived a very, just like you have, but very overkill experiences with
Mm.
celebrities and that darker world of reality or spiritually. Darker world spiritually, and reality is probably just regular. But then he's also seen some things that are even to the normal person. It's like, oh, that's
We were something. I talked to him one time. This like I feel like it's before people knew who he was. It's like 4 years ago, and he DM'd me about he wanted to do music with me or something, and that was it. And I haven't heard of him since then.
I always ask the most important question at the end. What's the best piece of advice someone's ever given you?
Don't give up, man. Don't give up on yourself. That's like one of my songs too, and it's like I don't know why that just resonates with me. Oh, I just burped. I was talking, I burped. Um, yeah. Trying to think. So you're saying, oh, so something that someone's told me recently. Oh, run your own race. A lot of people advice to anyone like trying to be someone they're not. It's never gonna work. Like, you have to be who you truly are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can practice, you can try to be this, you can do this, but just be yourself and you win. You know, like, that's it. Be real. So yeah, run your own lane or stay in your own,
Absolutely.
run your own race.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot express how much fire this guy has. And I'm not just talking spiritually, I am talking musically. Go check out Strength in This Moment. The album is out. You're going to love Derek's story, his music. You are going to love some of the unique things he does because that drop D tuning really did catch me off guard. Homie was on that business. But you can also find him on Instagram, Derek Morris 777. You can also go to his website of the same. You can't mess it up. No, he's not the NHL player. He is the musician,
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
taking the world by storm. He's got the Viper Room September 12th coming up as well. Ladies and gentlemen, put your heads down. Thank the Lord for this opportunity. Derek, thank you so much for coming on the show, man, and especially giving us so much love. I really, really am grateful for your time, man. It really has been a blessing.
Thank you, brother.
And everybody else, be smart, be mindful, rock on, and
Yeah.
out with a 777. Cool.
This is Derek Morris. Check me out. Check out Strength in This Moment, my newest release. And thank you so much, John the Ninja. Woo!
sure you listen to John the Ninja. All your ears are about to go on a vacation. John the Ninja's got what you need.